Welcome to the Produce Moms Podcast, where we believe there is a produce mom in all of us. I'm Lori Taylor, founder and CEO of the Produce Moms. For 10 years, I sold fresh produce to over 300 grocery stores in the U.S. And today, my team and I are fully focused on inspiring people to eat more fruits and vegetables. This show is just one of the ways that we hope to inspire you and your family to eat more produce and live a better life. If you like what you're hearing on the podcast, join our community of almost 40,000 in all 50 states and over 30 countries by visiting theproducemoms.com/subscribe. And be sure to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. Thanks for being here. Enjoy today's show. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is the Produce Moms Podcast, and I'm Lori Taylor. I love hosting this show. I say it every single week when I come at you with a new episode, and I love hosting the show for many reasons. First of all, thank you so much for being here. It means so much. I was reading some of the reviews as I was getting ready for recording this episode today. I'm always so humbled when we have new reviews and new ratings, and it means so much that not only you're sitting here tuning in, but you're taking that extra step to help us sustain and grow the show by telling people how much you love it. It means so much to me, and it does motivate me. It puts a big smile on my face, and it reminds me that, you know, what we set out to do in 2018 with this show, we are doing just that, coming at you week after week, spotlighting some of the most amazing leaders and passionaries in the agriculture supply chain and people who are just making the world a better place through fruits and vegetables. And today's show, oh my goodness, we are spotlighting one of my absolute favorite brands in the whole grocery store, and we are bringing on an absolute visionary who works there. So our guest today is Amit Patel. He is the marketing director, really focusing on innovation, new items. Right now, he's kind of just really focusing on this 5-year forecast, which I'll tell you what, in the world of farming and agriculture, like 5 years might as well be like an eternity, okay? Because so many things can change and happen in our industry. Amit is with NatureSweet. And you know, if you're following TPM, NatureSweet's one of those brands that we are so proud to partner with. And you know, if you're shopping at the grocery store, you know NatureSweet. NatureSweet is, they are the growers of your favorite brand of tomatoes, those cute little cherubs and glories and that beautiful packaging that, and, there's so many ways to reuse the packaging. It's a colander. And then we've got a whole ebook that we did with their marketing team. You can do all these fun crafts with this packaging. It's amazing. So I know, this brand, and you're going to become more passionate fans after speaking with Amit and understanding really what goes into taking a tomato, a snacking tomato. You've got cherry tomatoes, and then you have glories. It's like to use an analogy, you have handbags and you have Louis Vuittons. Okay, so this is a success story in branding from the produce department, which I don't have to tell anyone who's tuning into the show how difficult that is to actually have a brand that consumers recognize, they know, and they're loyal to in the produce department. We've been fighting commoditization in fresh produce since the beginning of fresh produce. So it's going to be a great discussion today where we're really talking about how do you market fresh produce? What does it take to turn a cherry tomato into something that is an iconic part of people's home kitchens, something that's always on folks' countertops? I always have a thing of cherubs on my kitchen island, and I just snack on them all day. And in all the kids that come through my house, it's the same thing. It's like they know that when they come to Lori's house, they're going to have those tomatoes greeting them. So with that, it's time to greet Amit. Amit, we're glad you're here. Thank you for being our guest. Thanks for being on the show today. Say hello.
Hi, Lori. Thank you so much. It's exciting to be on your podcast, and I've heard quite a few of them. So happy to be here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. We so enjoy working with your company. We really believe in the mission and the values of NatureSweet. And I think we'll be able to really dive into that today. But if someone were to ask me to describe NatureSweet, obviously you've got that fantastic tagline on your packaging, tomatoes raised right. But I would tell people this is a company that's working for farm worker empowerment. Really, before I would even say this is a company that grows delicious tomatoes, but this is not my show. This is your show. I want you to explain to folks more what it means to be the marketing director at NatureSweet. Help people understand, for anyone who's with us today that doesn't, that's not familiar with the brand, help people understand what NatureSweet's all about.
Sure. So I think you gave a really great introduction early on around, being a brand within produce. And I've been here at NatureSweet about 5 years. And before NatureSweet, I worked for a larger CPG company. And so moving into tomatoes.
That is a pendulum shift for anyone. So let's define CPG for people we're talking like, I don't know where you came from, Amit, but like, we're talking Pepsi, Cheetos, Doritos. I'm keep naming snack foods and sodas, but you know what I mean? Like these are brand names where you know exactly what the product is. Rice-a-Roni, CPG. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. And that's what Amit is referring to. He worked in the food industry, but he worked in a food industry where it was like, you knew exactly what the brand was that you were representing, and consumers knew it too. And so then you get into produce, and tell us more.
That's right. I worked for Campbell Soup Company before, and such an iconic brand, right? And consumers know you by name, they trust you. And so moving into tomatoes, I thought, man, what kind of brands, what brands are there, and NatureSweet, luckily I happen to know them because we are a, longtime consumer of those, and my kids love them as well. And so it was exciting to be able to move into a new industry where there was that challenge of creating awareness of a brand to gaining trust with consumers the same way that center store brands do. And so moving into NatureSweet, it was an exciting challenge. The thing that I love the most, and what we try to communicate to consumers, to customers, and really share, is our purpose, right? Which is transforming the lives of agriculture workers in North America. And that's where you said the empowerment piece, right? It's interesting because I hear that purpose, and and it really feels like something that a nonprofit would have, right? But really, our vision isn't just, transforming their lives in order to just do that for them, but it's really about unleashing the power of people. And that's what makes it really exciting. We know we are a company, but at the same time, we have this mission for doing something bigger than just us. And
I love that. And I will tell you too, so I'm taking notes as you're talking, which people might not realize that I sit here and I scribble notes throughout all these broadcasts, but okay. Unleashing the power of people. You said that, and I immediately thought about how even just that iconic packaging that you have, I'm able to put that on my kitchen island, and it's like unleashing the power of mom. It's like now all of a sudden the kids that are coming into my home, they might not have normally, like I could have put out a veggie tray or whatever, but it's like, it's in this cute package. It's available right there, washed and ready to eat on my kitchen island. And kids are coming in here and they're eating veggies they're eating fresh tomatoes as their snack when they're at my house. So it's I'm feeling it downstream even as well. I know the unleashing power of people is certainly meant for your associates and your team, but my goodness, that ethos lives on through the entire value chain with NatureSweet product lines. So I'm sorry, I'm like kind of cutting in as a fangirl here, but I agree with it. Anyone who's tuning in from NatureSweet, like, you are unleashing the power of moms as well.
I love it. We get endless write-ins, comments, and exactly that my kids don't love veggies. I don't get a chance to get them into their diet very often. I can't put them in their school lunchboxes, but NatureSweet tomatoes is different. And they pick up one for themselves, and they'll pick up our comments, for example, for their kids. They're in the grocery store. It's almost like them being able to pick out a candy in the candy aisle, but it's tomatoes. It's healthy. It's fun. It's exciting for them. So it's really, it's really fun and kind of exciting to see that with families.
It is exciting. So 5 years you've been part of fresh produce. Have you looked back, or are you just focused on looking ahead? It is a whole new world compared to CPG food marketing.
Yeah, I think I'm dug into produce. It's really exciting. There's so many additional challenges, that you face, that it's never a dull moment, right? Because unlike CPG, where you can just build another one, right, and create another piece. This is something natural. This is something that relies on the weather, and it relies on
hand
the
harvesting.
Exactly. And so it's been exciting, and it's also super rewarding to have something healthy and delicious that you're serving to your friends, your family. And so I'm fully in.
I love that. So I know from our pre-show conversations that you are, tasked with many things. Okay. So marketing director, innovation, we'll get to that in a minute. You mentioned a 5-year, forecast and plan. Like that's kind of what you're living in right now. How does one even go about doing that when there are all of these variables affecting, and my goodness, right now, as we face, inflation like we've never seen before in our careers, like what's it look like?
Yeah. I think, there's always changing times. I think, my boss, Lori Castillo, she constantly says the only thing that is constant is change. Mm-hmm. And so we've got to deal with the roadblocks and the challenges along the way. But the one good thing, and the one thing that we know for sure, is that people need fresh food. They need fresh produce. This is the staple in people's homes. And so we're going to give that to them. And we've expanded even beyond tomatoes, right? We're really moving into being a full, single solution for greenhouse grown veg for our customers, but especially our consumers, people who eat us every day.
Take that brand trust and expand it to other commodities, so that you can have that NatureSweet representation throughout all of that greenhouse veg. So I know what greenhouse veg is, but undoubtedly people with us right now, Amit, don't know. So walk folks through what this expansion of your portfolio looks like. Yeah.
So there's quite a few products that you'll buy every day in the store that are grown either in the greenhouse or in fields. Not one is not necessarily better than the other. That's just the way that we do things. So for example, cucumbers, mini cucumbers, bell peppers, mini sweet peppers. All of those things are areas that we're expanding into, including also larger tomatoes like beefsteaks and Romas and those areas. And so just having that same trust that consumers have in our snacking tomatoes, and understanding that we take that same care in delivering that quality every single day of the year, and having it available all year round for our consumers. And so that's what we're doing, and we're expanding beyond just the snacking tomatoes that everybody loves.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I've seen reports, and I don't want to misrepresent the data, but I mean, when you consider produce department brands, I mean, it indexes the highest of brands that folks recognize, certainly in the vegetable category, but also produce, categorically wide, fruits and vegetables, the entire produce department. NatureSweet is the brand people know.
That's right. I think that we're the brand people know, we're the brand people trust, which is really, really important. And we stand for quality.
And the values at the company too. I mean, we're privileged to work with this company at the Produce Moms. And when you consider that, organizations that we've had on this broadcast before, because we're just so inspired by things such as the Equitable Food Initiative, NatureSweet is a huge, huge catalyst for organizations such as EFI to even exist, because they're among the first grower brands to participate in these empowering initiatives to, frankly, make, not just make the world a better place, but make the supply chain for fresh produce more equitable all along the way.
That's right.
Yeah. So I know that there's undoubtedly more to come as it relates to your farm worker empowerment, transforming the lives of agriculture workers. I want to encourage everyone who's with us today, when you buy NatureSweet tomatoes, under the seal, there is a spotlight for the agricultural workers, and it rotates. Amit, maybe you want to explain a little bit more about this, because it's definitely something that every time I buy the Cherubs, the Glories, the Comets, and I open them up to wash them, it just makes me smile. So help people understand, when you started changing your labels and turning it into that storytelling component and really, unleashing the power of people.
I love it. Thank you. That's a great kind of setup to this program. We have we call it Associates Under the Label. Right?
I love it.
Because
okay.
it's you peel our label up, and it's almost like a little surprise.
Yeah.
And we started this a few years ago, really to share our story with consumers, and then also give credit and, create some excitement with our associates internally. People always ask us, how do you pick these associates? Well, they're actually crowdsourced in our own facilities. These are people that our own associates voted for and said, these are people who are special to us, who deserve to be highlighted. And so if you lift that label, you'll see a little QR code now. That's a new enhancement that we have. That'll take you over to our website, and you can hear about their story. You can hear about our associate's story. Many of them have been at the company for quite a long time and have really transformed their lives by working very, very hard and taking the opportunities that we give them and really, really transforming their lives and the lives of their families. And so it's really a inspiration to all of us at NatureSweet, but hopefully it gives consumers an idea of what we do.
Right. No, and it does. I mean, it brings it all to life. It closes that loop. It takes it from something that you say to, that evidence base, like at the level of transparency and authenticity that you just don't see. And really, not just produce. I mean, it's unique for the entire grocery shopping experience, frankly. So, all right, let's talk about what is sometimes like the elephant in the room. We talk about produce marketing. So you came from CPG where, these labels, these brands, Campbell's, I mean, my goodness, like you don't even have to define it. It's iconic. Like, Warhol painted it. Like it's amazing. So now you're working for a company that, I'll say it, I don't know if you're comfortable saying it, but such greater purpose, such greater vision, such greater commitment, like amazing products that are just the most important things that we can put into our body, our fruits and vegetables. So all of these beautiful attributes that on paper, it's kind of like a food marketer's dream. And then when you get to understand the farming economy, the supply chain practices, one of the first things that people quickly realize is no matter what kind of delicious product you have, great farming story, heritage, you could be a 4th generation family owned farm that's, sustained great things. And there's this radical push for private label at grocery retail. And I think our shoppers can certainly identify with that. Oftentimes and that's where it comes back to my previous statements about the commoditization. And I do think, one reason I started the Produce Moms is because I think that there is an interest in knowing more about our food. Like people want to know the stories behind what they're putting in their body, for goodness sake. So this is definitely a paradox of sorts, and when you think about how certain sections within the produce department have evolved and how they have changed, the tomato category is a fine example. I mean, it went from, you had Roma tomatoes, a round slicing tomato, whether it's a beefsteak or, like a 4x5 slicing tomato, maybe one SKU of snacking tomato. It was like a big deal if you were at a grocery store that had grape and cherry tomatoes, to what we have now, which is, 20-foot section, if not more, all different colors, all different varieties. You have your organics, you have your field grown, you have your greenhouse grown. And one thing that stands out is through that innovation, there's one brand that's maintained their brand at point of sale, and it's NatureSweet. It's the only one that's really always got their brand at point of sale at all different sizes and formats of grocery retail. So I don't know if you want to, I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about that as someone who's, charged with the marketing strategies that include, like, how do you get retailers to keep your brand on shelf? I mean, and maybe it's, I mean, undoubtedly it's not one thing. Okay. I mean, I know that everything we've talked about is part of that, it's a piece of that pie, but, Amit, tell us a little bit more, because it is really a phenomenon when you consider how you have sustained this push for private label in an era where it's just more and more great growers are growing and bringing their products to market under the store brand.
Yeah, I think that is true. We're seeing a lot more private label movement here, but you've touched on a few things that makes us such a powerful brand within the category, right. And those things include trust in the brand, quality. We're striving every day to make sure that we have the best quality product that you could possibly get out there. And you can kind of see we've been doing quite a few initiatives to get more and more transparency to the consumer, for them to understand all the hard work that goes into this, to check and make sure the growing practices, the effort that goes into each and every product that gets out there, and consumers understand that after they've bought it and they've tried it. And I think that's one of the things that we lean so far into our story, which is huge, which is such a great piece, and consumers will pay more for a brand that does that has these standards and is making this type of impact in the world around them, because everybody wants to live in a world where they don't have any guilt or any problem, or have a support over a brand that they know is doing the right thing. And so we have that piece, but we also balance that with making sure that we have the best quality product. And that's, at the end of the day, you also want to just take home the best quality product. And so the combination of those two things, really, it's not something you can replicate very easily in a private label brand or an off brand coming out and just kind of opportunistically selling in something at a low cost. And retailers have tried to go 100% private label, and it hasn't been as impactful as having our brand on shelf. And so
they call you and they say, or they call Jimmy and they say, we made a mistake, bring it back. Exactly. You should hear even the comments that we get on our hotline. I can't find you guys here anymore. And, we'll let them know when it comes back, and it's usually pretty quick. So, there's people vote with their wallets and with their mouths and their stomachs, I guess. And it's really, I think that's one of the things where you're going to see NatureSweet around for a really long time, and kind of in that big set. And one of the great things is we've created that set. And yes, private labels come in, and it is a big deal, but it's just expanded the set. Yeah, right? That's a great way to look at it. You're absolutely right. Yeah. It's more consumers eating more tomatoes. Right. And we always want that as well. And so it's not that, hey, there should never be any private label around. It's I would never say that either. Yes, I agree with you. One thing I wish the retailers would do more. So anyone who's working at grocery retail, your private labels should at a minimum say who grew the product. I think that your shoppers would appreciate that. I know that I would appreciate it. And as someone who's in food marketing and touting the story that, hey, this is the era of transparency. People want you to know where your food is from. That is unfortunately a disconnect that we see too often at the Produce Moms, where private label products don't disclose the grower or even the region often where product is grown. So yeah, agreed. Completely agree. And you are so right. Like, we want people to eat more fruits and vegetables. That is also our mission. We want to get more fruits and vegetables on every table, and understanding that it will include many brands, and it should, it will include private label. It will include branded product, but it is remarkable what NatureSweet has accomplished in the tomato category. And now, gosh, this innovation Amit, I'm excited to learn more about this, the expansion. I know last year at the Produce Moms, we supported NatureSweet with the launch of your to-go line, which is perfect for busy moms like us here at TPM. But my goodness, there's so many applications where that to-go snacking line makes the most sense and is a real solution for your consumers. So I'd love for you to talk about that product line specifically, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no. So I get to talk about it. It is my baby, actually.
Good job.
Thank you. I helped launch that, and we'll have that in market really soon again.
Yes.
At many of our retailers from July and really around back to school for the time period.
Huge back to school item. Yes.
Yeah. When parents are super busy and you're trying really hard, like you said, to get some healthy snacks into your kids. So snacking is really, we already call it snacking tomatoes, right? The little cherry and grape tomatoes. It's already such a huge usage of our tomatoes, but very few people take them away from home. Not as many do as they would like to. And so that's really the consumer insight. It's as simple as that. I want a healthy snack that I can throw in my bag. I want a healthy snack that I can throw in my lunch. I love snacking on these tomatoes at home when I have my Cherub's pack on my counter.
Right.
But that doesn't get you all the way to getting it out the door. And so that's what we wanted to do. We just wanted to help consumers get it out the door and take it where you want to take it, or make it super convenient for them, even if they're at home. So we washed it and made it ready to eat. We washed it, dried it. It's in a perfect little package that fits into most lunchboxes, bags. It's crush proof.
I was just going to say, that's my favorite part. It just came out of your mouth, the crush proof. I was waiting for you to say it since this is your baby, but here I am interjecting, because that's my favorite thing about this product line is it does not get smashed.
Yeah. And that's been one of the most exciting things to see. As we had a kind of our soft launch last year, we saw it from consumers in their bags, in their lunch boxes, eating it out at parks, different places. And it's really, it's fun to be able to see that we're getting that kind of healthy snacking. And could you imagine what it replaced, right? It could have been a bag of chips or
I know what it
else.
replaced, because I would take it to the ball diamonds. My kids play this racket sport of travel baseball. And so you go to these tournaments and, you never know when you leave for the day, if you're going to be there. Like if they win, you keep playing, and you could play like from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. Or if they lose, you're going home. And so it was kind of like that conundrum when I was packing the snacks. Like, I don't want to overpack, but I also don't want to be reliant on the concession stand. And, it's hot as can be. So you're limited on things that, if you need refrigeration, like how much can you really fit in your little cooler? So I know that those crunch proof, what do you call it? The crush proof packaging of those to-go tomatoes. I would buy them by the dozen at the Kroger by my house, had a beautiful display of them. And I would walk in and I would just get a big old handful of them, throw them in my cart. And I would eat probably 3 or 4 of them during the baseball weekends. And it would replace, I don't know, nachos from the concession stand. So you're absolutely right. It is one of those positive shifts that we make in our eating choices. And, I think that too, it can't be understated, and it can't be overstated either. It's all about the flavor. It's food. And that is, I know that you mentioned it previously. People love NatureSweet because they love how it tastes. And that consistent flavor year round, when you see that NatureSweet label, you know what you're getting, and you're getting the most delicious, juicy, flavorful tomato that your food dollars can buy.
Yeah. I don't want to make it so scientific, right? Thinking about it from a marketing
standpoint. No, nerd out for a minute. Do it. Let's be scientific.
We did quite a bit of research, right, on what people want and what does healthy snacking mean. And one of the things that I thought was interesting when you look at consumers, when they're in that mindset, they're looking for a very healthy snack. The actual first driver for purchase interest is, how does it taste? It always comes back to taste. It doesn't matter if you're in the mindset of healthy, if you're in the mindset of indulgence, if you're in the, no matter what you're really thinking, you just want it to taste great. And our tomatoes are so sweet and so delicious, but without any of the extra guilt that comes along with it.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. All right. Well, we've talked about all the things really, but I want to know more about, anything that you would like to share as it relates to what's next. It's like, okay, so this company that's really turned itself into an icon, or dare I say it, a unicorn in the produce department. What's next for a company like NatureSweet? I mean, where do you go from here?
That's an interesting question, and it might be a little above my pay grade, but I'll give it a shot. Right?
Okay.
I think coming from innovation perspective. So you mentioned we were just discussing about private label and our brand's place on the shelf, and what do we stand for? Really, I mean, one of the key areas, and it's part of my responsibility is innovation, and that's one of the things that a brand can do to help a category. And so we've got a 5-year pipeline that we're developing that will help retailers, will help consumers really grow their consumption of fresh produce and live a healthier lifestyle. And so we will have that coming soon. Yeah. And I won't be spilling all the beans, but they'll be coming out, sort of systematically over the next few years. So consumers don't always have something new and exciting to try when they're in the aisle. And I mentioned before, really becoming a bigger player in greenhouse grown vegetables. Let's do the same thing we did with small tomatoes in other areas of the store. Over the last few years, grocery pickup and delivery and things like that have become a big deal. And you want to feel really good about picking up a package of produce and not having to worry about looking and making sure that everything's perfect, right? And that's one of the things that NatureSweet offers with our quality that consumers can trust. And so I'm really excited to see us move into that area. I think it's going to be huge for consumers. There's going to be less waste for our customers. It's all around going to be exciting for NatureSweet over the next few years as we move into those areas.
It's going to be super exciting. And we'll obviously keep everyone posted here at the Produce Moms. We love working with this company, truly believe in everything that they stand for. The time is now where more and more folks are literally voting with their dollar for the values and what they want to see out of their food system. And I encourage you to always do that. And, you can know with confidence that when you do your diligence to figure out what your food dollars are supporting, NatureSweet is one of those companies that will always be on the right side of the food industry and farm worker empowerment, how we're treating the environment. I could go on and on. I know sustainability is a wide net, means many things, but NatureSweet certainly is a company that leads, and we're really proud of this company. And we buy it with confidence, and for the Produce Moms Work Kitchen, for our personal kitchens, and encourage you all to do the same. So this has been such a joy. I mean, we've had so much fun, and who knew that two people could nerd out on a podcast and talk for 30 minutes about snacking tomatoes? We can do it, folks. Here at the Produce Moms podcast, we can do it. But truly, Amit, I truly enjoyed learning more about you, and just just learning more about what it's like to be on the marketing side of, frankly, an iconic brand, that's doing so much good. You've got a job with wonderful opportunity, but you also have great responsibility because of the type of brand that you're promoting, transforming the lives of agricultural workers, unleashing the power of people. This is big stuff here, as you know. So amazing things that NatureSweet stands for. And as we've said several times, amazing tasting tomatoes too. So, and say, hey, greenhouse veg all around, right? We're excited about this product line expansion. So Amit, you get the final words. You get to say goodbye to our listeners and any closing remarks that you might have. But I just, before I throw the mic back to you for those final thoughts and remarks, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for believing in, that bringing your food marketing expertise to fresh produce. And this is the right place to be. It's an exciting time for our industry, and I'm glad you're part of it. So with that, you get the mic for closing remarks.
All right. Thanks so much, Lori. I really appreciate the opportunity to come here and talk about our brand. I work it every day, but I don't get to voice it as much as I would love to. Everyone at NatureSweet passion throughout the building, throughout our greenhouses. And so it's really exciting to be able to tell consumers about it firsthand. And I also want to thank you for your passion for our brand, because it shows in a big way, especially the way you kind of describe the way NatureSweet has worked towards transforming and empowering agricultural workers. It's a beautiful story, and I really do hope consumers get a chance to check out these labels that we have. It's really close. It's right in your home. And I hope that you're able to go to that website and kind of see the rest of the stories. People kind of get fully engaged, and then you get an understanding of why we do what we do every day. And so thank you again for having me on here, and I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Produce Moms Podcast. If you or someone you know would like to be a featured guest, just send an email to lori@theproducemoms.com. We know there is a produce mom in you because there's a produce mom in all of us. Join our community on Facebook and all social platforms. Help us change the way America eats. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.